we have become so good at compartmentalizing and shying away from the messiness of life.
We can hear criticism in you always or you never, because this is like a general idea about who you are.
Repair needs to have the least amount of words possible.
How you repair is going to look different based on who you are. So getting to know what's important for your partner is the thing.
Right? Do they need more space?
Right.
Or do they need me to crawl on top of them, get in their shirt, look them in the face and be like, you're mine, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, give me a kiss, bite their cheeks.
Please fix me, please heal me. And that is not a partnership. Then and only then could I actually choose to be in a partnership with you, because it wasn't a partnership before. It was two unhealed patterns, two, wounded children going, please love me. All right, so today we are talking about the 4 common behaviors that kill relationships. And here's the thing, most love doesn't fail because of one big betrayal. Usually it's these little paper cuts that happen over time that is called death by 1,000 paper cuts, right? It's these little small behaviors that when we don't look at them, when they go unaddressed, they build up to grave disconnection that has you waking up one day going, I don't even know why I'm with this person. How did we get here? How did this go wrong? And I don't even feel like I want to fix it.
My theory is if we looked at 1,000 relationships, probably 80% of them would be doing these.
Yeah.
And it's a part of why the divorce rate is so high. I think that even for people who stay together, when they are operating from these behaviors, it keeps disconnection as the forefront and eventually leads to, hey, I want a divorce, or hey, I'm going to cheat, or hey, I'm going to cheat with the kids. I'm just going to focus on the kids. Screw you, right? We both know people who have that as their focus. They're like, cool, you're dead. You don't care about me. You don't care about us. I'll focus on the kids. We'll be roommates for as long as we need to. And as soon as the kids are gone, I will be divorcing your ass.
Yeah.
That's like a whole thing that we know quite a few people that are operating from that space. And to me, this is a harder thing to address for most people because it's so insidious and so everyday.
And it's so nuanced, right? I think the big disclaimer that we want to put here is if you're doing any of these behaviors, like, welcome to the club, right? Like, we are all human. These behaviors are very human of us to do, because ultimately it all comes down to this wiring within our nervous systems in our body going, can I trust this? Am I safe here? Is this a soft place for me to land? And there's so many opportunities for us to not feel safe. There's so many opportunities for us to be proven wrong again and again and again and feel like our partner doesn't have our back. And so if you're noticing any of these and you're feeling like, oh gosh, I've got all 4, or I've got 2, or whatever it might be, just know we have been there, and we are not better than you. We have just found some tools that have helped us get out of these cycles.
And let me just caveat this as well with relationships and life by its very nature is a team sport.
Yeah.
And just you showing up to listen or watch this podcast is an indicator that you understand that at some level. And if while you're listening, you start to feel a certain type of way and you go, oh my God, I'm doing all of them and we're doomed and we're screwed, just know that you can join our community. We have a community. It's at thebridgetolove.com. It is absolutely amazing. We made it super affordable for couples and individuals who are in relationships. I just want you to know that so that you don't think, okay, what do I do from here?
Yeah.
We have found that some of the best work you can do is by being in the gym, working out yourself, yes, but also watching other couples work out.
That was a big thing for us because we felt so alone in a lot of the dysfunctional patterns that we had, that we were looking at each other going, well, it's got to be you, right? Like, maybe if I just find somebody else, then all problems will be solved.
Yeah.
And really getting into communication with other couples who are navigating things responsibly and with humility, it really helped us go, okay, so this is normal then.
Yep.
This is like a thing that a lot of people go through, and we can really support ourselves by learning in community and having that accountability.
So what we've discovered is that everybody else is just as fucked up as us. That's that's the thing you get to know, and it actually creates a relief where you're like, wait a minute, it's not just us.
Right.
Everybody
Yeah.
is in some form of dysfunction until they're not.
Yeah.
And then when they're not, it doesn't mean they never visit it again. It just means that the moment you have an awareness of a pattern and a way that you sabotage, you can actually make choices about it. And a lot of people are doing these 4 unconsciously. And so we're going to start with number 1.
Number 1 is emotionally withdrawing. So coming out of the relationship and going into your turtle shell and finding a way to kind of shut down and push away. Commonly in attachment, this is known as avoidant or disorganized, because we tend to go like this when it feels like too much and we're being suffocated. And this can look like a lot of things. There's the obvious of emotionally shutting down and stonewalling, but this can also be being on your phone and scrolling, or working all the time, or pouring into the kids, or always hanging out with your friends and missing the relationship because you're somewhere else, even if you're sitting right next to your person.
Yeah. In the work of Imago, there's this section called closing the exits, where you list, and I challenge all of you to do this watching this right now, you list all of the exits that you have out of your relationship. And some of the exits are healthy and necessary.
Yeah.
And until you can name it, you can't do something about it. And so figuring out what you do to cope, what you do to keep yourself okay while simultaneously keeping your partner at bay.
So give a couple of yours.
Okay.
So people have them, and I'll give a
Yes.
few of mine.
So, when we did this work, one of my exits that didn't seem like an exit because it is so healthy and awesome is cutting the grass and doing yard work, right? Because gardening feels really good for me. I like putting my hands in the dirt, et cetera, et cetera. But it's a way that I could leave the family.
Yeah.
It's a justified way to step out and away from Alexi, the kids, life, right? If I just go outside, then that's an exit for me.
Yeah.
Now, again, some exits are healthy. Sometimes it is important to take space for yourself. But when we are doing that, whether it's conscious or subconscious, as a way to cope and deal with the disconnection that we have with our partner, that is then unhealthy.
Yeah. So, for example, one of mine is work. So it's really easy for me to go, I have some work to do, because we run multiple businesses and we manage properties and we do all the things. And so for me, when I'm feeling the discomfort in my body and I don't want to be with it, work is the first place I go to, because I can put that energy towards something productive. Now, society celebrates that. Right? Like they're like, wow, you get so much done. You make great money. You do all the things. And so I can pat myself on the back and be like, yes, I'm working so hard. I'm handling the things. I'm doing all the stuff. But if it's a way to avoid the discomfort that I'm feeling in the relationship, it is emotional withdrawal.
The word that's coming to me right now is compartmentalizing.
Yes.
We have become so good at compartmentalizing and shying away from the messiness of life because of fear, because of past programming. The kid in school who was too loud went to the principal's office. The kid that, in our own home that did too much, especially in the 80s and 90s, got their ass whooped. They got, punished really bad and potentially hit. And so we learned scanning, when you're messy, you get judged. When you're messy, you can't function.
You are not safe.
So we compartmentalize and we go, I'll just put it into cleaning the house. If I just keep cleaning the house, then I never have to actually look at this person and say, I'm aching to be kissed by you. I am dying to have a date night. I am I am hurting so bad and it has nothing to do with you, but I need you and I want you to hold me, but I don't know how to say it. I
Yeah.
don't know how to convey it. So instead, I will bury myself in work, in the dishes, in vacuuming, in gardening, in basketball, in UFC stuff. Whatever the thing is, that's a way that we find our exits and we emotionally withdraw from the relationship and our partner.
Yeah, now I'm gonna talk about a sneaky one that I think a lot of women and men will relate to is like being the good woman and being the nice guy,
Mhm.
right? On the surface, it looks like you're like the perfect partner. You're doing all the things, you're attending to the needs, you're like really like, what do you need? How can I do that? You're bending over backwards for your person, but at the same time, you are withdrawing emotionally on yourself.
Mm.
And what that could sound like as a term is, "I'm fine. Everything's great. Everything's great," right?
I'm fine, and I
I'm
don't know
fine.
what you're
Everything's
talking.
fine. House is burning behind you. Everything's fine. That is a really sneaky way that I think a lot of people are like, if I just put this energy into being better,
Mm.
into performing better, into providing more, into functioning more for my person, well, that'll hopefully soothe the discomfort. But it is a way that we emotionally avoid, and we avoid the hard things. And that level of withdrawal feels like to our partner, oh wow, I'm alone here. Like this person, do they even think that anything's wrong? Like, do they feel the same thing I'm feeling? Like, am I the only person here that feels disconnected? Does that even matter to them? And so the person that isn't emotionally withdrawn tends to feel this like crazy sort of like anxious, oh my gosh, I feel crazy. I feel like they don't see it. Is this me? I'm so alone. I'm so by myself. Whereas the person who withdrawn on the surface can look very peaceful,
Mm.
can look very quote unquote happy with their lives, and it can be crazy making for the person on the other side.
This, we use the term in our work, some people have innies and some people have outies when it comes to your belly button,
Mhm.
and it's very easy to see outie people. It's very, "Oh, yeah, they're crazy," or "They're this," or "They're that." The innies are a little more subtle. It's harder to catch them, but they have the same stuff going on.
Before we move on to number 2, I just wanna mention from a nervous system standpoint, we are talking about a freeze response where your body kinda numbs out and disassociates and goes somewhere out here, and it's like you're watching your life like a movie, but you're not actually in it, or flight response, where you have to get out because the energy feels too much. And so, again, our nervous system patterns are things that we learn from 0 to 7. We didn't learn them consciously, we learned them unconsciously from our surroundings, from our caregivers, from the traumas that we went through. Anytime our body didn't feel safe, our body has this pattern to go, "This is how I'm gonna find safety." And at one point, it really worked for your body, and now as an adult, it's probably not serving you anymore.
Facts. The second quiet slash common way that we really disconnect and kill our relationships is chronic criticism and contempt.
Mm.
And this could come out in a myriad of ways, whether you actually vocalize it or not. And that's the thing I want a lot of people to hear.
Yes.
Because a lot of people we've coached over the years, and self included, I can feel when I'm being judged, and I can feel when I'm judging.
100%.
Right? Let's actually define both of these so that people also know what we're talking about. And I'll
Yeah.
start with chronic criticism. If you are constantly looking through the lens of this person's doing it right, this person's doing it wrong, this person's doing that thing where they snort again, this person's doing that thing where they X, Y, and Z, and you're looking from, in some ways, a high horse, an aboveness, a one-up, as Terry Real would say, that, whether you're vocalizing it or not, that is chronic criticism.
Yeah, criticism is you are the problem. Like there's a problem here, you're not fixing it, you're not getting it. There's a right and wrong way to do this. You're clearly not getting it right.
Yes,
And you're constantly looking to the other person to go, "Okay, I'm waiting for you to change.
facts.
I'm waiting for you to change." And we can hear criticism in you always or you never,
Mhm.
because this is like a general idea about who you are. And this is where it bleeds into contempt, because contempt is really an error of superiority,
Mm.
of oh my gosh, I can't believe you're this type of person.
Mhm.
Like it's almost disgust in a way
Yes, yes.
where I can't believe that you as a human would do this,
Mhm.
right? Even if the behavior is wrong, we don't make the person wrong.
That.
Contempt makes the person wrong. It makes their character wrong.
Mm.
It makes their identity wrong. And the person who's holding contempt holds themselves as above and is looking down upon
Mm.
somebody that they're holding contempt with. And so this is really big because, as Preston said, a lot of couples get into this without it being blatant because it's happening under the surface. It's like the inner eye roll when your partner
Mhm.
does something and you're like, oh God, here we go again.
She's telling the story again, or it's that kind of thing.
Or like, bullshit, don't believe you. Heard that a million times before.
Yeah.
Like anytime we're in our head judging or condemning, criticizing, or holding ourselves as right and our partners as wrong, this one is, if you've studied any of the Gottman's work, we studied under them and became trained under them as relationship coaches. They talk about the 4 horsemen of relationships. And basically, 2 of the top ones, the biggest one being contempt. If you've got contempt in your relationship, it's almost doomed for divorce.
Mm.
Now, saying that, you can come out of it.
Yes.
You can come out of it because ultimately, when we're in contempt, if I'm holding you in contempt, I'm not looking at myself at all. I'm not willing to look at myself and how I might be wrong, how I might not be showing up. And so I'm constantly focused over here.
So this is a vulnerable share, but this is an example so that you guys understand, one, that we do our work and we've been doing our work. Back in the day, I used to, be like, oh, I want you to be more feminine, X, Y, and Z. And I had an idea about what that was
Right.
and what it wasn't. And so I was holding Alexi in contempt and judging her as she was the problem. But the truth and the thing that I figured out, and it doesn't mean there isn't room for growth in both directions, but the thing I figured out for me was it was her feminine that was expressing. I couldn't handle how it was being expressed. So I was like,
It didn't feel and look how he wanted it to
no,
look.
I'm like, be feminine, but not like
that.
this. Make it happen over here, but shut it down and be more like a dude over here.
Right.
And holding her to this fantasy standard that she could never, ever get to was a part of the demise of our first marriage.
Yeah.
And, I can, in hindsight, look at that now and go, wow, I did not have the capacity to hold her feminine.
Yeah.
I needed it to be packaged neatly and perfectly so that I could digest it. But the truth was, it had nothing to do with her and everything to do with my lack of skills and capacity to sit in the tension of her being with life, especially when it involved me.
Now, this is such a big thing because contempt comes from a pattern, a learned pattern. When we don't feel safe, we go superior because superiority helps us avoid what doesn't want to be looked at or felt within ourselves. And so it's easier for me to look at you and be like, oh, I can't believe you fill in the blank, than to look at myself and go, oh, I can't believe I can't. And so anytime you find yourself in contempt, which we all do sometimes, it's important to turn that mirror on ourselves and go, okay, what can I almost not believe that I'm unable to be with right now?
Facts.
And then from a nervous system perspective, contempt and criticism is really about fight. I've got all this energy coming up in my body. I don't know how to be with it, so I'm going to throw it on you. I'm going to put all that energy on you because I can't be with my own discomfort. And when you're on the receiving end of contempt or criticism, your feeling is, I'm not safe here. I'm not respected here. I'm not seen here. And so that starts to create a huge chasm in the relationship because if you don't feel safe to be seen, to be respected, to be loved, to be held, you start to shut down yourself and you start to really disconnect and distance yourself from a partner that creates that sort of environment.
Facts. Okay, let's move on to number 3, and that is keeping score and resentment banking. This is such a big one that if there's one of these that we are champions at,
this one.
It's this one. Number 3, Alexi and I have been working through and with for many, many years, and it's still a thing because it's not like a thing, but it's a thing. And we have to be aware of it as a couple because both of us are goody two-shoes overachievers in different ways.
Yeah, we both learned that overfunctioning was a way to stay safe
Facts.
in our family systems.
Correct. So both of us are like outgooding each other and then counting and like, wait a minute.
Look how good I did. Look how good I did.
I did it. 7 extra things. You see how many times I got up last night? You see how many times I held the kids? Do you see? It's like each of us is trying to one up each other, keeping score. And again, this does more damage to the person keeping the score than it does to the person it's being pointed at, because it instantly blocks connection. If I am operating from, and these two sort of bleed together, sometimes I coach men on the side, especially those who first have kids. And one of the common things that comes up a lot is like, hey, bro, like she wants me to be everything and do everything. And then the moment I pick the kid up, if I pick him up wrong, if I put the bottle the wrong way, she's on me, right? And they sort of bleed together, because what happens for those men in those moments is after about 7 of those, they start holding resentment. It's like, I can't get this right. You want me to be an African grandmother, an auntie, and your mom, and everything else to be able to hold the container of this baby, which I don't know anything about. And then when I try to do it, you tell me how you're doing more and how my life is easy and you could still go to the gym and all of those things, which is kind of true and also not true at the same time. Everybody's life is different the moment a baby is there.
100%.
And we'll have a whole other podcast for that one.
We need like 10 podcasts.
We need 35 podcasts for that one. But the point is one of the silent killers for men is this.
Yeah.
And it's so tricky because we play together. And this is why one of the things that we teach, and anytime I'm working with women, I say, hey, appreciation goes a long way. He's already feeling like he is not good enough in almost every category. And if you just remind him, hey, yep, you didn't pick that bottle up the way I wanted you to, and thank you for picking it up, it relieves the part of him that feels like, yo, I'm doing the things and I can't get credit for the things. So now I'm just going to be resentful and I'm going to bank all this resentment and I'm going to be more distant from you. And then all of a sudden a year has gone by and we know the stats. 67% of couples break up within the first year of having a baby.
It's so wild.
To me, this is a big part of it. And whether there's a baby a part of it or not, if you just focus on this one, you can take off a huge percentage of the stuff that's blocking you in your relationship.
Yeah, there's something really important to note here when we talk about resentment is, because I work with a lot of women, especially moms and married women. And one of the big pieces that we really focus on is anytime you feel resentment, there's self-betrayal lurking in the minds, right? And this goes for anybody. But we feel resentful because we're kind of in this transaction that's totally unconscious, right? Like he wants to pick up the bottle, he wants to help, but there is a subconscious like, hey, can you see me? Can you give me credit for it? Because again, that's a learned behavior from childhood of, hey, if I do this thing, you're going to guarantee me love. You're going to feed me. You're going to give me safety. And so we learn how to overachieve and overfunction and really obliterate our own needs in hopes of getting something in return.
Yes.
And when we have resentment, again, we have that self-betrayal, meaning we're not acknowledging what we actually need. We're not standing firm in our boundaries. What happens is relationships start to erode the culture of generosity, right? We're now being generous to have something in return. Like, okay, I'm going to do this thing for you, but only if you give me something back, right? And so then we start to have a culture of debt and we start banking that debt and we start looking at each other and going, okay, well, I've done 10 things today. You've only done 4. So where are you at with your 6?
Yep.
And we start to count. And that becomes a really challenging place for couples to be in because we start to feel like intimacy has to be earned. Like, oh, well, I don't want to feel close to you because you haven't done the other 6 to add up to my 10. And it starts becoming this game where we become unconsciously competitive with each other.
Yes.
And it becomes this power struggle of who's doing more and who's doing less. And ultimately who's better because they're doing more.
that, oh, it's so insidious and not a good look for anybody in a
No.
relationship. I would say I have this theory that we're just different species. And I think a part of the keeping score and the resentment banking that everybody gets to be aware of is figuring out how the species works. Uh, you know, I like to use the women are tigers, men are lions, right? Both powerful cats, both the strongest in the world. Tigers are relatively stronger and can do more stuff, but both really powerful. And they might look at each other and go, "Oh yeah, we're the same." So you'll get it, right? Like how I need.
How I roll. You
Yeah,
know how I roll.
you understand, right? And ultimately, the lion's like, "No, I think I do. I saw some TV shows that showed me, and I think like providing or like, but then you provide too. So like, what's like? All right, I take out the trash. I play with the kids, or body slam them. I do the thing, and everybody's kind of like, yeah, bro, but that's not enough on both sides.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important to do your best to understand the psychology of how your partner grew up.
100%. And what also helps regulate the different nervous systems. So if you are in a male body or born into a male body, your system will regulate through dopamine, through feeling good, right? In these quick hits, you can get a sense of relaxation through scrolling your phone, through watching the game, through having a conversation with your friend, through playing basketball. For women, our nervous system regulates through oxytocin. And so we really need connection to feel safe and pleasure. And so many women are pleasure deprived because we think we have to earn pleasure based on all sorts of programming. And we think that pleasure is like some sort of frivolous thing that doesn't really add to productivity and taking care of the family and all the things. So we put pleasure on the back burner. We were never taught how to actually make pleasure productive for ourselves.
Thanks.
And connection for a lot of women, especially if you're in a season that's heavy, like rearing children, having children, building businesses, moving. If there's anything hard going on in life, your system is so sensitive and connection matters. And so you have to know that if your system's already feeling tight and feeling hypervigilant, which is what resentment is, you're constantly scanning. Where is this person now? How much are they showing up? How much are they doing? How much are they not doing? You're constantly scanning. Your system is never going to relax in that state. And therefore, your marriage, your relationship will never relax in that state. And you will never feel safe. It's so deep.
So deep.
Okay, so number 4, our final one is not repairing after conflict. This one is so big and so insidious because most of us don't know how to repair.
Yes. Again, checking in with your partner. And if you're listening to this or watching this, make this a priority today. Ask your partner what makes them feel reconnected to you after you have conflict. Because there's what we think repair is, and there's what the partner's body thinks it is and feels it is.
Yeah.
And oftentimes those things miss each other. And we have to have grace and space for each other, because we know in the trauma world that somebody who has been relatively traumatized in childhood it can take them about 4 hours to get back to some level of like actual regulation. Somebody with a multitude of traumas, it could take 4 days to get back to who they are and what they really are. And so understanding your partner, right? Do they need more space?
Right.
Or do they need me to crawl on top of them, get in their shirt, look them in the face and be like, "You're mine. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Give me a kiss." Bite their cheeks. All of that might be a thing that works for one person, and it may not work for another.
It might repel another person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So repair after conflict is actually the nutrients that grows the tree called your relationship.
Well, and it's important to note that a lot of couples, and this was me, I had this idea of if you're arguing a lot, it may not be the right person, right? And so I had this thought of like, oh man, we're arguing so much, like this must not be a good fit. Maybe there's someone better suited for me. And that really created its own distance between
Mhm.
you and I.
Mhm.
But when I really got, again, by getting around other couples and hearing other couples' stories that had weathered storms, that had been together for a long time, and not just had the time, but had the depth and the happiness and the connection and the intimacy, is they said, it's not conflict that damages a relationship. It's not repairing the conflict that damages the relationship.
Mhm.
Then fast forward to having kids and reading on all the parenting literature and psychology. And they say it's not that you are not going to fail as a parent. You're going to fail so many times as a parent. The metric of success for your children is how often and how quickly
Mhm.
you repair.
Mhm.
And I think that's something that a lot of us, a lot of adults did not see as children was healthy repair. A lot of us still have relationships with our parents that feel unresolved in some ways.
Mhm.
Obviously, you and I don't. We've worked through that, but so many of our clients do. And I think it just goes to show that nobody was really taught how to repair well. And so having some sort of metric of knowing what is required for healthy repair with your partner is so important. And that ultimately means knowing, like, hey, what do you need to feel safe after we feel disconnected?
Facts.
Because the disconnection ultimately reads to your body as, I am not safe here. I am not loved here. I might get abandoned. I might be rejected. I may not be worthy. Whatever your stories and your wounding
Mhm.
is going to pop up in those moments of disconnection.
During a really dark time in our relationship, we had multiple therapists, and this particular one I hated for a multitude of reasons. But he taught us something that I still will never forget. And it really changed how I viewed repair. And what he basically explained was that repair needs to have the least amount of words possible.
Mm.
Because what tends to happen, especially if you have two quote unquote A type, like I'm right type people, is repair will then turn into justification and righteousness. And so it'll be, I'll give you an example. It'd be like, I'm really sorry that you're such a terrible human being. I apologize for not being able to hold your terrible storm and your tantrum. And when you said X, what you really meant was Y. And so my bad on hearing that,
Mm.
but the way you said it was kind of terrible, right? Like that's not actually repair.
Right.
I'm not actually repairing at all. I'm just hiding what I really feel inside of this flowery language and starting with, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And this is really big. Obviously, Preston was exaggerating a little bit, but here, catch the context underneath it of, I'm going to take responsibility, but it's still going to be mostly about you as to why I did the thing that I did. I did it because you did that thing. And so that's what we want you to catch in that. Because it's something, especially in personal development, if you have some language and some jargon and some psychology behind it, you then start to use this
Ugh.
and you use this almost against your partner
Yes.
to be like, oh, well, because you're an avoidant,
Yeah.
I did the thing, and then we start to like justify our behavior
Oh my God.
by, pathologizing somebody else.
Yeah.
So it's really important to catch that and almost, again, laugh at yourselves like we are now,
Mm-hmm.
because we all do it in some ways. And it's important to know, because we work with couples as well, that I'm just thinking of one couple from years ago that came into one of our rooms that everything was good, right? They would be the couple that's like, oh, we never fight. We never fight. But underneath the "we never fight" is this quiet desperation of, "I'm not satisfied here, but I'm also it's not terrible, so I guess it's good, so I guess I'll stay, but we never fight because, yeah, everything's fine,"
Mm-hmm.
right? And again, that goes back to number 1, the emotional avoidance. And what happens often is if we don't have these moments of contrast, we're not maybe being fully honest with
Mm-hmm.
what's there, because even in a friendship, even in a family relationship, if you're spending a lot of time with someone, even our kids, there's things my kids do. I love my kids unconditionally. There's things they do that piss me off,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm just like, oh, my kids are great all the time, then I'm not actually being with the reality that, hey, this doesn't work in our house, right? Or whatever that might be. And so conflict is a beautiful opportunity to actually build a relationship with more intimacy.
Mm.
And this is something that was a huge reframe for me because I had such a pushback on conflict because
Yes.
my parents and There are multiple marriages fought all the time. I was like, oh, you can't ever fight or it's going to be over. And so for me, reframing conflict as an opportunity to understand you better, to understand me better, for both of us to get our needs met in a deeper way, that builds more intimacy. So conflict, if it's handled well, is actually really good for a relationship.
I totally agree. I'm about to say a few things that might make some of you mad at me, but I want you to hear them, because these are real things that especially men talk about. I'm at a friend's ranch, and there's a party there, and there's a moment when everybody's going to go eat food, and I'm with two of my buddies and their girlfriend, and we walk up to this table full of women, and somehow the conversation became about whether what these women do when they know they're wrong.
Mm.
And all of them unanimously said, I never apologize. Like, and then one of them said, well, like, how I apologize is I'll like give them the look. Like, mm. And I was like, wait, what's the look? And they're like, oh, like I'll give them the look, like, come get me, or like, sorry, but I won't say it. And my friends there, I stayed for the most part out of this because I know I have a temper around specifically that. So my friends start saying a few things, and long story short, it turned into this big argument where my friend and his girlfriend walked off. They stormed off, and she was feeling all kinds of ways because she was like, hey, I actually don't have a problem apologizing, but these women are making me feel like I
do it too much.
Like I do it too much, and we need to take down the patriarchy, and there's no space for us owning that we made any mistakes. And I know that's not true for all women.
Definitely not.
But there is a whole world where, and ladies, just hear this. I've been in rooms with men who will use that their partner apologizes as a reason why they're going to marry her. Like they'll be like, yo, and then all the other dudes will be like, what? That's crazy. Like she owns it. Now we can take this a whole nother podcast, obviously, but we could take this and go, throw it away. It means nothing. Or we could say, hey, there is something to it, just like there's something to quote unquote toxic masculinity.
Well,
just
yeah.
like there's something to the mother load, just like there's something to the pressures that women and the programming that's occurred over years for women. We could throw it away, and or we could really recognize that there might be something there. And so if it's you that has a hard time saying, babe, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I am in a certain part of my luteal cycle. I know we don't want to ever address that either, but that's a thing sometimes. That's why you guys are closer to God and magical and all the things. And I made this, it was a 2 out of 10. I made it a 10 out of 10. I'm sorry. And it doesn't justify that you yelled back at me. To me, if we're getting into the nitty gritty and the details of repairing during conflict, I think it's important that everybody address that is a thing that needs to happen. And it's hard for men and women to address this subject. Men are so scared of women. Hear this. Men are so scared of you because you're so smart and you know all the things, and you go into your Rolodex of 1967, you said this, you did this, you like this picture, you did this thing. We are like, there's a whole world. And so in the dating world, in the relationship world, men who have women who will own even a percentage of the conflict to that man, that is a keeper. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to say. I just want to speak for the ladies that might be feeling the this, because in women's circles, we've got our versions of that, right? When we're like, what? He did what? Oh my God, that's a keeper, right?
Yes.
So we have our version of that. We have plenty of examples of our version of that. And it doesn't discount that that's true for a lot of the circles that he plays in as well with men. And so I think the big thing to really acknowledge, and we talked about this on another podcast, is repair is so fundamental to the health of a relationship. How you repair is going to look different based on who you are, which is why getting from your partner, hey, what do you need to hear? Because someone, like for instance, when someone says sorry to me, it doesn't do it for me. Again, words. I'm so particular about words. If it feels shallow, if it feels insincere, if I don't feel like it's backed up with like some grounded evidence or something, So sometimes sorry falls flat for me, right? But what feels better is like really truly feeling into my experience.
Mhm.
Like, ah, I know how that must have felt for you, or I can understand how that must have felt for you.
Mhm.
That to me is like, oh, I can breathe.
Mhm.
I can relax. So getting to know what's important for your partner is the thing. And also knowing that if your partner's like, hey, I need you to say the words, I am sorry. And
Yes.
you're like, fuck, that's really hard for me to say.
Uh-huh.
Just say that, just be like, that's hard for me to say.
Mm.
Or I feel really uncomfortable, or there's so much shame that comes up for me when I say that. Because now your partner understands you a little bit more. And
Mhm.
again, you just built more intimacy.
Mhm.
You just built more closeness through that vulnerability. And
Yes.
so then again, you're on the same team. Your partner knows, okay, next repair, I asked for I am sorry. She told me it's hard. I'm gonna feel her in the tension of fuck, I really want to say this, but I can't say it, but I know he wants to hear it. I can give her a little grace because at least I know,
Yep.
right?
Yes, and just FYI for everybody, nobody wants to feel like it's always their fault. Nobody wants to ever feel that. And so if you do have that tension of like, I cannot own anything, just know we have a friend, but it's really Alexi's old friend who was a certain type of person. And
Strong personality.
she had a man that was just there and there and there and yes, dear, and yes, dear, and yes, dear. And one night she went to sleep and woke up and the ring was next to the table and he was gone. Now, I'm not blaming all of that on just,
No, it was co-created
yes,
because he was people pleasing and fawning
that,
and not owning his boundaries or his needs or his sovereignty or having a voice at all
that.
in the relationship. And she was like, cool, I'm going to take all of
I'll
this.
take it all. I'll take it all. And more than likely, I won't own anything. And it's always your fault and get it together. And instead of, he was a coward. He just ran.
Yeah.
And
Which a lot of people do, and they stay in the relationship, but they run emotionally.
that,
They run energetically.
facts, so much facts. So if you want it to feel good for everybody, and that ultimately gets to be the goal, how do we make this interaction in this lifetime, right? I think about it often and I get blown away that out of 8 billion people, you and I found each other.
Yeah.
That out of 8 billion people, we found each other, and the kids we have, and the house we have, and the dogs we have, and the parents, and all the different things, the worlds we've built. We have coached thousands of people together.
Yeah.
We have held and helped people get their lives back.
Yeah.
And it's all because we found each other.
And I'll say this, we found each other, but we stayed committed to the internal work.
Yes.
Because there are so many moments that all four of these were present in our relationship.
Truth.
There were so many moments when all four of these were present, when but I know you did as well, where I was like, I don't know if I can do this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this feels too hard.
Mm-hmm.
And what I wasn't willing to look at in those moments was, it feels really hard. Number one, because I have a story that you'll never change, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
problem number one. I'm looking at you.
Mm-hmm.
Problem number two is what actually was hard is that it felt really hard to look at the deepest shadows within myself and go, there's still more work. After all the work I've done for all these years, there's still more work.
Yes.
And
Fuck.
that's what felt really hard. And that's what felt almost insurmountable was I actually really had to come to terms with myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then when my full self was online and actually sovereign and not codependent and not reaching and not all the things, then and only then could I actually choose to be in a partnership with you, because it wasn't a partnership before. It was two unhealed patterns, two, wounded children going, please love me, please fix me, please heal me. And that is not a partnership. That is, a codependent loop that can be really painful.
If any of this resonated, touched your heart in any way, we ask two things. One, subscribe or join.
Leave a review.
Yeah, leave a
Do all
review,
things.
leave a comment. And if you know that you need more of this and you need it in a deeper way, and you need to feel seen and heard and be a part of a community, we have one. It's called The Bridge to Love. Go to thebridgetolove.com, put the coupon code podcast in, and we'll hook you up. You shouldn't have to do this by yourself. Life by its very nature is a team sport, and
Yes.
so is relationship.
Yes, yes. We'll see you on the next episode.